Well, hello and welcome to Love Love Tennis. I am so glad to have you here today because I just got to experience your invention and it is so much fun. So tell me your name
Yeah.
and tell me about your company.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. First off, beautiful Sunday. Pretty hot outside right now in LA. So my name's Ransom. I'm with TIMEBALL. Created a game that's we can go into detail kind of later on, but in short, it's a champ side versus challenger side. We built an app that tracks how much time you accumulate on the winning side. The most time by the end of the session wins the day. So very simple. You played it. You got to experience that at Club OSA. So that was awesome. And that was a very fun event. They told me there was going to be about 7 players and ended up being about 20. So I had to figure out last minute how to figure that format out. So, but yeah, anyway, so.
Yeah, Raquel and Ramon Osa have a tennis court at their house, and Ramon is a fabulous tennis coach. And something Robert and I have in common with them is a husband-wife combo that play together, which, as you know, is quite unusual. There aren't that many husbands and wives that can play well together.
Mm-hmm.
But also they're very into kind of the law of attraction type stuff, and I'm very into that sort of stuff too. So after playing tennis at their house, we sit down and have drinks and just talk about that sort of stuff. So they're a very, very exciting couple.
Yeah.
I actually played one time with Alex Marino, another coach in the Bel Air Estates Crest.
Yep.
Bel Air Crest, I
Bel
think
Air
it's
Crest,
called.
yeah.
Yeah. So I played it over there too. It was fantastic. Tell me, I know what the benefit is as a participant in your wonderful time ball.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what the benefits are for the teaching pro. One of the things, I was having dinner last night with Beverly Hills tennis pro, and I was telling him that he teaches 40 hours a week. And if his client cancels last minute, it's very difficult to fill that whole spot. So he loses $150 because that's
Right.
how much he charges an hour. When they're teaching time ball, one of the things is that there are 8 people on the court. And so if one person drops out, you lose $50. You don't lose $300 for a 2-hour session.
Right.
So that was one of the things that was very huge on the tennis pro side of it. The other thing that I see for the person teaching and earning money using time ball is that you can have level-based groups. And for me, Love Love Tennis, my whole brand is about looking cute and the social side of it and people meeting each other. I have tennis events for single people. It's called Doubles for Singles. And I introduce people of the same age group that love tennis but don't have a spouse or a partner. And so I introduce them to either play tennis together or to date or whatever. The social side of the game, tennis can be very scary, especially when you're at a beginner.
Right.
But I feel like time ball, anybody can play it. If you play with your own level, you're all kind of learning together, and that growth cycle with a group of people, even personal growth events, are much better done in a group setting versus sitting at home watching a YouTube video about something. So those are a couple of the things that I can see very clearly would be a benefit for the tennis pro. What else is there that they can gain from using time ball?
Yeah. I mean, I think for a coach, a few things. So like you mentioned, financially, for a player, it's cheaper than a lesson, right? So players are willing to do it more often. So I get players that play 3 to 6 days a week in my groups, versus they'll take maybe one lesson for that same cost. Another perk is you get to, fit more of your clients on one court at a time, where you only have 8-10 hours in a day. You can take basically half of those people and create 2 groups, and in 4 hours of work, you're done. You're done for the day. So you can essentially either work half the time and make same amount of money, or you can work the same amount of time and double your money.
Double the money.
Exactly.
I love
Yeah.
that.
So so the math is like pretty much too easy to turn down as a coach, and I do maybe 80% of my time is running time ball groups for my clients. So so that's kind of the short financial kind of perk to that.
What's the So for me as a client, here are some of the benefits. One, I got to meet more people. I knew a couple people on the court, but I got to meet more people that are my level. At 4.5, it's pretty tough to find people that are kind of your level and can, when you're playing in the USTA leagues, for instance, you're always playing the same people. It's the same people
Right.
over and over again. So this gave me kind of a fresh thing. The second thing for me was I like playing on different courts as well and experiencing different local courts. So it gave me the ability to experience Bel Air Crest. I had no idea there were courts there, or
Right.
go to Calabasas or these private courts that are kind of fancy, which I like, and a new experience. I also love the music. I really think that tennis can get a little bit serious sometimes, and it doesn't. I mean, of course, when you're playing a USTA match, it is serious. You're competing,
Right.
but this is my hobby as well. Sometimes I want to play matches, but I also like to go out and hit a bunch of balls and have some fun. So the music was great for me. I also I do play very well against different types of players. It keeps you kind of on your toes because in a real match you have time to get into a rhythm and to notice the opponent's weaknesses and really take advantage in that way. But with time ball, 1 minute, this guy's there, he's got that forehand, this one's got the back, oh no,
Yeah.
don't lob over this one. It's very fast and complicated and very exciting. I mean, there are 8 people on the court and I sweat and get cardio much more on time ball than I ever have playing doubles.
On a court.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the social things you touched on is, and kind of why we created Time Ball was, pickleball has been kind of on the last 3-4 years, maybe kind of on the rise, and for good reason. Personally, I mean, it's fun, but it's not, thrilling. It's too easy, kind of in a way.
We agree.
Yeah.
Robert and I agree.
Yeah, so it's too, and I like to challenge myself, and I picked up golf, as a kid, but also kind of through COVID as well, and it was like really fun to kind of be in that learning phase again with a sport. And
And by the way, I just
Yeah.
want to interrupt you 1 second. The reason he's saying that is because he's an unbelievable tennis player. So, and I hope we took a little clip, and it was dark at Club Osa. So I hope we can grab a clip of him hitting to me, and hopefully we can cut me out of the picture because he made me look like he was only just warming me up a little bit, but it looked like I couldn't play tennis. He's so good. But anyway, go ahead.
thank
Yes.
you.
Yes.
But one of the great things with pickleball is you don't even need a paddle. You show up to a park or courts, hey, can I get, jump in? And yeah, sure, come on in. Because the level's so the same. Beginners can pick it up easily, and advanced players, the rules are in a way that they can't dominate. So, pickleball took a lot of tennis, and, there's troubling things with tennis is there's serving, there's returns, and it can be slow and catty, as well, that you probably experienced in the past.
Absolutely.
And with time ball, you show up. It's there's a timekeeper, we call them, but those are our coaches. And so the timekeeper's there, keeping the ball in play nonstop. So there's never a break. There's always something going. There's no, let me walk down, grab that ball, double fault, grab that ball. Hey, pass me those. Okay, then you hit an ace, and then you hit a serve, and they miss a return. Like so, in the span of 5 minutes, you've hit 4 shots. But in this 5 minutes, you've hit a lot of exchanges have happened.
Yes.
So. And it's competitive, because of that scorekeeping, timekeeping aspect of it. So it's a great way. And the card, there's just so many benefits, and we can go on and on with.
Yeah, you're hitting lots of balls. It's very social because of the music and how fast it is. Like you said, the gang mentality doesn't happen where it's my partner and I against you and your partner, where we're getting slowly angry at each other, whatever. It keeps people in that honeymoon phase because you don't have time to get, too bratty. One of the reasons husbands and wives don't play well together is because at the beginning they're all sweet to each other.
Right.
And then typically one of them, starts coaching the other one. And then the other one goes, excuse me, stop coaching me. Yeah, I never asked you for your advice, But sometimes when that politeness wall goes down, which happens when you play with the same person for a long time, the politeness wall goes down. And it's unfortunate, but that creates a lot of aggravation between doubles partners. So with this time ball, there's no team against a team. the partnerships are changing the whole
Rotate,
time,
yeah.
right? So if you have a shitty partner, sorry to say that, but it's only going to be a couple balls or whatever, or they'll miss the return and they have to go back to the back of the line, and they're not your partner
They're not
anymore.
right.
Yeah, and so you will go up on not the challenger, what's the other side called?
Champs.
Yeah, the champ side. You'll go up on the champ side with a good player. And it's like, if you play well and they play well, you're going to be up there for a long time.
For a while, yeah.
So there's no finger point, oh, he sucks, she sucks. It's like, if you're never up there, then maybe it's you.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah.
that kind of like lightness that's created is really, really fantastic. One of the other things I like about it, it allows the coach to kind of throw his personality into the mix. The scorekeeper, you call him. So it allows, he's there on the court, which keeps everything fun and fair. It keeps the music going. He's timing, which gives the competition aspect, which is one of the things I didn't like about the old live ball, because there was no checks or balances in that type of
Right.
or cardio tennis or whatever those other things were, because I do like to compete, and I like to see how I'm doing and how I'm playing and things like that. So it kind of takes all the best things of pickleball with removing the bad things about pickleball, which, by the way, I played it twice in my life, and I was like a 4 or 5 pickleball player the first time I played, which
right.
that's when you know it's bad. And I hurt my back the second time I played, and I've never played it since, because that
leaning and
kitchen
reaching.
thing is
Yeah.
it's not. I'm not strong enough to do weird stuff like that. And so, but the pickleball was fun, and it's quick, and it's boom, and it's boom, and it has the competition, right?
Right.
Because the points are important. For me, the points are important. But like you said, this time ball takes away the things that are really, standing around while people double fault over and over again sucks the life out of me. It's not, I don't have a big serve, so I don't double fault. I just kind of get the point started with it. I often win a bunch because people are waiting to block something, and I don't, it's like 43 miles an hour. So it's like, there's nothing to block. You're going to have to generate your own pace if you want to do something with it, So I absolutely love it. So what is the problem do you think you're solving for the customer and the coach with this wonderful invention that you guys have?
Yeah, I mean, for the coach, it's way less taxing on the body. If it's from a private lesson, it's less. I mean, it's less and more talking. It's less informative, but it's way more. Go, come on, you're there. Go get that ball. Get that lob. Get this. So, you're kind of like a I don't know, DJ maybe, or more of like an entertainer than a coach, and that's kind of a great thing too. Is you have in a club setting, you have your coaches. Oh, that's the guy that worked with that pro, or that's the person that worked with this so and so. And you have these kind of new coaches that are newer, like kind of junior coaches or whatever you want to call them, and they kind of don't fit in. Like people don't really want to take lessons from them. So they're left with like these group classes, trying to figure out how to organize 4 or 5 ladies that are different levels, making up drills that 3 people hate and 2 people don't, and then you switch a drill and then 4 people hate that one. So then, but with time balls, like you pick a game, it's the same game. People know what they're coming for. You play that game, they have a great time, and they leave, and they sign back. So it's the same. Basketball. You know what you're playing. It doesn't change kind of every week. So it gives those kind of like younger coaches that have a lively attitude and personality kind of a chance to be the stud. Whether it's within their club or there's their private court, kind of local court. So.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. And there is kind of the ability for the client to then also say, hey, I want to take a private lesson for you. But like you said, you're not doing 8 private lessons a day. You could do 2, time balls and 2 private lessons, or, 4 time balls and 2 private lessons, and you're making much more money that way. And it's interesting that you said about taxing on the body, because the pro I had dinner with last night needs to have back surgery. And they said he can't feed a ball for 4 months. And he hits with all of his clients. That's how he teaches them, is by hitting them and getting everything back. And I said, what are you going to do, Yeah. And that's another great point. I didn't even think about the taxing on the body. It's really great. So as far as the customer goes, how do you feel like someone like me benefits from playing the time ball?
Well, what are you looking for? Because there are people that, go, oh, I love traditional tennis and I love serving and I don't like music and I don't like noise and distraction. So, if it's a cardio thing, we have it. If it's social kind of tennis, we have it. If it's competitive, we have it. So, it
And
depends
hitting a lot of balls.
and you're hitting a lot of balls.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That is really valuable.
Right. We'll go through probably in a 90-minute session, 6 full, those Gamma or I have a Solinco cart. Shout out to Solinco.
Love
over there.
Solinco.
Yeah, they're great. But I think it fits 180 balls. It's a little over 2 cases. And I go through around 6 of those a session.
Well, I always sign up for the 2-hour sessions because, living in Beverly Hills, getting to any of these things takes a long time to drive there.
Right.
And if I'm going to get sweaty and all of that, I do the 2-hour session. So how many balls is 2-hour sessions? So what did you say
8,
was?
yeah, 8, maybe 8 baskets.
Okay.
I'm just guessing.
That's
8 baskets.
amazing.
In a private lesson, you might have 1, 1.5, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Especially in an hour. So, yeah, so that's, you are hitting a ton of balls and it's in an under pressure setting, with score, say pressure changes everything. So, with that scoring element, you're working on your strokes and under a simulated kind of situation, where there's nerves, there's score. If you miss that forehand, you're getting knocked out. If you miss the backhand or miss that overhead. And even today, there's a lot of like 2, so it's 3 points to get over. Mm-hmm. So a lot of 2-1 points, which is we call full house. And if they miss that overhead, which two times today they did, and the guys were pissed, and they lose that 2-1 point, and now they're in the back of the line and they didn't get over. So, but in a practice private lesson setting, they probably make that overhead 8 times out of 10.
So tell me how time ball is played. What are the rules? How many people on court? What's the whole system around it?
Yeah, so 5 to 8 players on a court. 2 players on the champ side. There's a timekeeper on the champ side off to the side, and the other players are on the other side. Doubles format, so 1 up, 1 back. And the timekeeper feeds it to the baseline player on the challenger side.
Okay.
They have to accomplish a goal. That is forehand cross court, let's just say, for this first basket. 3 things happen. They either miss it, they rotate out, and that's where that partner change happens. They hit a clean winner. Them and their partner automatically take out the champs, and they become the new champs. Or they make it. Now they're involved. They get to play. So it's like that buy-in chip in poker to be involved. And now that person and their partner need to win 3 points to come over to the champ side.
The challenger need to win 3 points, but the champ side have to hold
Only win 2 points.
2 points.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So do you ever change that, or is it always 3 points and 2 points?
We'll have some groups, like I do a Monday night high-level group, a lot of kind of ex-pro, ex-college. It's a very exciting kind of night for those guys. But they like 4 points to get over. I think it's 4. I mean, to have to win twice the amount of points, it's a lot. But so we changed it to 3 probably 2.5 years ago or so, and that's our stock thing. When we have 9 or 10, we've had people on a court. We've done like 2 and 2 to come over. Mm-hmm. We actually did out in Indian Wells a brand kind of launch with Solinco on their tennis warehouse court there, and we had like probably 45 people on the court or 50 people, and so we did 1 to get over, 1 to get knocked out. Super fast paced. We having to like put in each player's name and track it was like not going to happen. So we used just the audio of like our countdown. Did 3-minute baskets, and then the champs that were on that side when it was over got some Solinco gear and strings and whatever. But
that's so awesome. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, so no, it was cool. It was a lot of rotation, a lot of people trying out Solinco rackets and coming out. So that was pretty exciting. And then we had Fu there and me on the mic and making fun of people. But
yeah, the charisma is really important, I feel like. And I've taken a time ball with somebody who used to do live ball. And time ball was much more fun because, I don't know, he was being much more playful. Whereas when he used to, coach the live ball, the sessions, it was just blah, 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 blah. So I feel like it brought the personality out as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like the music or the timing of it.
No, I think it's the the scoring, like the timing. I mean, anything with score competition brings camaraderie. You have, and that's kind of, with the live ball thing, it's great. It's still a great workout, but like, what's the purpose? Every game has a purpose. Even, I mean, Monopoly, board games, name anything, anything fun, anything bonding. There's always, what's the reason we're out here? And with live ball, there's no reason. I mean, you get a good workout, but like, how do you win? So there is no winner. So,
and I think it's very important practicing trying to win, because that translates not just to tennis matches and tennis tournaments, but even in life. You don't want to be treading water in life. I mean, life is really about progress, and you can't measure progress if there's no game to play, right?
Yeah, exactly. I had actually one of my players, was 2 years ago, one of my players was kind of bummed out. They're like, man, I'm not getting better. I don't feel like I'm improving. And so I actually took her last 10 sessions, charted it, put it on a map, and her score trend line's going up. So I sent that to her. I was like, no, look, you're doing better in these groups, like, against the same players, same kind of group of people. And so anyway, her, as they say, frown turned upside down. So so she was very excited to see like that, at least maybe she's not getting better, but at least she's scoring better. And that usually results.
Then she is getting
exactly,
better. I mean, she definitely is.
Right.
So I wrote a book called I Love My Doubles Partner, which is just kind of a positive. It's mostly illustrative. And some of the things I love about 77 of the partners I played with, going from 2.5 to 4.5, every time I went up that half a point, a new level, I was on a new team and I had new partners. And so what I realized about tennis doubles, it's much like relationship. You can have the same partner that somebody else can't win with, and you can win with them if you can figure out how to make them feel good about themselves, how to serve them, which means if, for instance, Adeline I have a 5.5 overhead, okay? So if you can get me an overhead, we're gonna win the point. 9 out of 10 times, we're gonna win the point. So what do I have to do to give Adeline an overhead? What ball can I hit that gets that ball back for Adeline, right? So serving your partner is number 2. Number 3, being so flexible that you can play with anybody. Because when I play with Robert or Andrea, my female partner that I play with most of all, they both whack the ball really hard. And so that ball comes back really fast. It's very challenging for me. I much prefer a loopier, slower ball, right?
Right.
So I had to learn how to play well against a hard ball, because when they hit it, or Robert has, 130 mile an hour serve. So when that thing comes back, it's like, very jarring.
Yep.
So I had to learn to, and then sometimes I play with women that are in their 70s and their 80s, and their ball is extremely different. And so something extremely different comes back to me. So that flexibility and that adaptability, being able to play with a partner that plays like this or like that, against people that, we just played with somebody who hits that forehand so hard, and it's like, I was literally like, and I'm not even Christian, so it's like, I was, and I was like, you've got this, you've seen it before, that, being able to be adaptable and flexible and see a lot of different types of balls. And then the biggest part of tennis is the mental side of the game. With time ball, you're playing these people who play differently, and you just have to big up. You have to figure. You don't have time to sit there and talk to your partner. I'm going to serve here, and you go there, and you do this, you do that. And for me, there are 3 types of tennis players. We all have all three of these we all embody all 3. One is the physical player. They're a big technical player. They have great form, and they hit the ball really pretty, okay? The other one is the mental player. She's very good at strategy. She's like, okay, I'm going to drop shot, then I'm going to lob over, then I'm going to do this. I'm very strategic. But the best tennis players, in my opinion, are the players that are most in touch with their intuitive side, the soul of the sport. And in order to be there, you have to be able to be present while you're playing. You have to be with your partner and with the opponents and with that little yellow furry thing that's coming towards you, And so that intuition gets developed. You have to have confidence to be able to trust your intuition. And the confidence comes from lots of balls. It comes from lots of different types of balls as an opponent, and lots of different tennis partners, because when you get used to a partner that maybe serves and volleys, the expectation, your vigilance center goes down, because you're just like, oh, I know what he's going to do. He's going to
Right.
serve and volley, right? But when you've got different partners all the time, you can't rely on that thing that you know is going to happen. So you have to start building the guts, the thing that I think is when I'm in the zone and the ball slows down for me, because it does sometimes. Man, someone's serving a big serve, but it just slow, and I can see the writing on it, and I'm just striking it exactly where it needs to be struck. That happens for me when I'm out of my head and I'm out of my body and I'm in this like higher place. I don't know what to call it.
Yeah.
Time ball helps teach me to go there, I think.
Yeah, use your instincts. Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, there's a lot of clients that, they play time ball to use kind of in their doubles matches as practice, but, I hear all the time, oh, I don't play, my normal partner was injured, so I play with this girl and we don't play well together. It's valid, but it's like, you got to worry about your skills, your court. Even though you have a partner, but kind of worry about you, don't worry about, your partner's weaknesses or play off their weaknesses too. Kind of do your part to hide their weaknesses, and elevate your strengths. And so, yeah, it's definitely time ball makes you play better. And also you can't rely on your partner. If you get split up, you have to play with someone else, and, cream rises to the top.
That is absolutely true. You see that truly you get to see who the best player on the court is. You truly get to see it. You can't hide it in any way, because that person plays with all of us. And if they keep going up on the champ side with all of us, then who's the best player? It's that person.
Yeah.
The person who's adaptable enough to be able to win with everybody.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think the one that I played in Calabasas, you weren't the timekeeper then. I think there was another person. But what happened was that the person who was, doesn't think I'm a great player because of the way my strokes look or whatever. And there was another lady there who he thinks is much better than me. And he literally said to me before we started playing, he said, oh, this is, very high level. And it was really interesting, because I walked over to Robert and I said, oh, I didn't know he thinks I don't. I mean, we just won a gold ball. We just won a bronze ball. Like I know how to compete. I don't look like I play fantastic tennis. So of course my scores were much higher than her. And I was like, I wonder if he saw, like if he notices that my points were much higher than hers. And I actually never got on the sides with the best player on the court, which you know who that was. So I never even got up on the champ side with him, not one time. It just didn't work out. I got up there with him, and he beat everybody by like 10 minutes or something. So, the fact that I could win without even being up there with him was...
Well, I think he'd appreciate a name drop. So it's my business partner, Red Foo.
Okay.
And he actually said to me about a week before that night, he's like, everyone goes home and they go, man, I play, I'm almost as good as Foo, or I'm as good as Foo. I beat him tonight. And so he told me, he's like, look, I got to start sending a message. Like these people are not on my level. Like, so he,
not even close to his level.
Yeah. So he's like, I mean, he's a very competitive guy, by nature, great to be around. During COVID, I mean, we started this literally out of not his garage, but out of his house. And we were coding the app together and creating, okay, what kind of rules can we put in? So, but anyway, yeah. So he's like, yeah, I'm coming for prisoners.
So I knew his songs, I mean, he's a hit song singer, but I Googled him afterwards to see, because I didn't know he played tennis. There's a chap on The Daily Show, one of the reporters, who also was on the circuit tennis. I don't know if you knew that as well. But it's kind of funny because I meet 99% of the people I meet them through tennis. Right? But for him, I knew his music before I met him and saw him play. So how is it? I mean, first of all, let's talk about your background and why you're such a good tennis player, how that came about. I want to know a little bit about your family and your background, why, you're a super athlete. And then, same with him. How did he become a tennis player? And, looking at him, he looks much more like an artist than a tennis player, but he was magnificent. And one of the things that I usually take advantage of is if someone's a really, really good tennis player, I go close to the net because you're not going to get past me. I have very quick hand-eye coordination. But I came into the net and he went over me. And that's very unusual, especially men. Men don't typically start lobbing and doing stuff. They just try and hit through me. And when I play with Robert, Robert's also a super athlete. So they see me and they see Robert, and Robert's a much better tennis player than I am. So they're going to hit every ball at me. So I've become even better at handling big balls because that's what happens when we go to tournaments now.
Right.
So tell me your background and his background with tennis.
Yeah, so my background, originally from Chicago, started when I was about 4 or 5. My dad dragged me on the court, no choice. So,
What part of Chicago were you in?
Bucktown specifically is where I grew up.
Which court were you playing on when you were that young?
Lakeshore Athletic Club at the time. I think it's Lakeshore Sport and Fitness now. So I grew up there, Midtown as well. Kind of in high school, grew out of the level of that club. But my dad was my primary coach. He'd be looking for empty courts and sneaking on to court 12 and then get kicked off and then go to court 15 and kicked off. So it was definitely an unorthodox kind of junior player. In terms of training in the suburbs, it's much easier. It's cheaper to get court time. It's easier to get court time. But yeah, city, it's.
I've played at that club, the
Have you?
Midtown.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, I had such a good time there.
The new.
It's like in the new one.
In the new, with the hotel. They put a lot of money in that.
It's like being in a hotel at a tennis club. It's magnificent. It's beautiful. It's clean. There's unbelievable restaurants, and it's like being at a resort. Actually, it's like a Ritz-Carlton in there. Yeah.
No, it used to be just, I don't remember how many courts, but there was 2 buildings.
Still 2 buildings.
Still 2 buildings, but yeah, it used to be like that was it, just buildings and courts, and like the worst gym. But now it's a.
So was your father a coach there?
No, so he played college tennis.
What college?
Wichita State.
Okay.
His dad, so my grandpa, taught him and, dragged him out in Hyde Park in the south side of Chicago, dragged him to parks and, they'd play their tennis and then go home. But yeah, it was that, it was like the parent-son kind of typical, like the match gets brought home and, like it's a weird energy. And so, but it was fun. I mean, it's all in good fun.
Did you have siblings?
So. I did, yeah. So my brother's 3 years younger, and my sister's about 7 years younger.
But he focused on you with the tennis?
Kind of trickled down, yeah. So it was me, got me to a point. My brother was a late starter, and my sister was a late starter. So I got most of the tennis attention.
Did your mother have any athletic sort of growing up?
She played like high school tennis in that, and then kind of in my high school years, she was more of a rowing. Like sculling, I think they call it.
That's what I did.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I went to school in Wallingford, Oxfordshire, in England, a boarding school, and I sculled there. Yeah.
So she was into that. I tried that once, and I was like, I don't know about it. It's not very I like my feet on the ground.
So how tall are you?
6'4".
How tall is your father?
6'3". Yeah.
And your mom?
5'10", 5'9".
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe small. Yeah.
Okay. So then you start playing in high school and everything? Are you on the varsity?
No, I started when I was 4. So I started when I was 4.
You playing on the team in high school, I mean?
Playing on the team in high school. So I went to the Lincoln Park High School, which is an inner city school. And the tennis program is, our coach was like a Spanish teacher, who didn't know so it was like that kind of thing. The players on the team were like IB nerds that their parents said, like, you need to play a sport. And it wasn't going to be basketball in an inner city school. It wasn't going to be football. So like tennis is the, white collar sport.
Yeah.
So the team, wasn't very good because there's a lot of unathletic kind of academic kids. And, but yeah, I had to kind of like in my junior year, I had to pick whether I wanted to kind of practice in a non-competitive setting for 4 months and then go to state, or not play high school and just play junior tournaments and train off-site. But kind of struck a deal, so my dad would come probably like 4 days a week to our practice. I would get court 4, and the other kids would practice on court 1, 2, and 3. And that was kind of the deal is, hey, I'll be at practice, but I won't participate in the practice fully. And, felt weird at the time because I wasn't being a team player, but I also needed to look out for me and go to college, get a college scholarship and stuff, and play with the best. And in Chicago, that's hard. So, I did that. But kind of before that, quit from 11 to 14, played lacrosse. And
Lacrosse?
yeah.
Wow.
So that was a bit of a change. So we did, we moved to the suburbs, and I got to play lacrosse and soccer, and quickly found out I wasn't good at soccer.
Did all the other one, like he played soccer and stuff as well. I think that's why he said that his children do all the sports, because he feels like if you push people just into tennis, it could be a problem. But
well, you for sure want to get your kids into multi-sports, like get them to be athletes first, then tennis players later. So
you weren't good at soccer?
Wasn't good at soccer.
Too tall or what?
No, I wasn't. I had a growth spurt like sophomore year of high school, so this was well after. But no, I think I don't know, soccer. I mean, there's so many good people out there, and starting soccer at the age of 12 is not a good idea. Starting any sport at 12 is tough. You've got kids that have been doing it since they were 3. So did that, played lacrosse, and it was decent. Again, in my city school, was like probably top 5, top 6 best player on the team. And then I remember we went out to the suburbs to play one of the suburban schools. I mean, I thought we were good, and no, they were horrible. Because these guys, I mean, they're like, the ball's, you look over here and the ball's behind you in like three passes. So quickly realized, okay, I'm not going to college with this sport. So went back to tennis, and and just kind of, I did like it. I loved actually playing training and doing the whole thing. And I think that 3-year break helped me become not, into burning out, at a later age. So
what did you study in college?
Business.
And then then you moved out here in what year?
2016.
So we're 2024 now. What year did you start devising TIMEBALL in your head?
That was COVID. So 2021. I think we started working on the app February of 2 years ago.
Okay.
So about two and some change was the app concept, and the name TIMEBALL was launched actually on Foo's birthday, September 3rd, 2021. I think. 2022.
So did you meet him? Did you meet Red Foo from tennis?
Yeah. So we met through live ball with a company called Tenacity. Out of Malibu Racket Club. So we met both as players in there, and that's kind of where, we're both competitive people. We play live ball. 90 minutes later, there's that thing missing that's like, I beat you, I'll see you next week, punk. Like, that was missing because there is none of that in live ball. Everyone feels like a winner, and that's, kind of a downside with today's overall society is everyone gets a trophy.
Wait, can Red Foo handle your ball?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I'd love to see that, because you weren't on the court that day. Yeah, I know I could tell he's unbelievably good, much better than all of us. I mean, we were all 4.5s on the court, and a woman 4.5 and a man 4.5 is a completely different thing.
Not the same.
Yeah, which is in UTR it's much better, because UTR shows what you are. So like
no matter age.
Yeah, Robert's a 7 point something and I'm a 5.9, which is correct. Even though in USTA we're both rated 4.5, Robert's a higher level than me.
Right.
So I am surprised though. How old is Red Foo?
49, 48.
Yeah, he's my
maybe?
age. I'm 50. Okay. Wow, that's that. I'd love to see. Now I want to come watch you guys play TIMEBALL.
I mean, we haven't played singles in a long time, but
not singles.
But in TIMEBALL, no,
TIMEBALL.
he's a top-notch player.
Wow, I'd like to see that, because Josh owns Tenacity, right?
Josh owns Tenacity.
Yeah, so he's in West Hollywood now. We've done a couple of events together as well, but he's like really leaning towards pickleball a lot. So so he's a great guy as well, and he's a great tennis player too. What other stars have you had on your court in tennis that you've met? Because I know Dr. Phil plays, but he's not. He's a lower level. I think he's 3.5.
Okay.
Who's the guy from Mad Men? He's a 4.5.
Calabasas doesn't have a lot of actor people. I mean, I have two ex-athletes, baseball players that play in my groups.
Oh, can I tell you about my
Okay.
athlete story? Okay. So in the Lakers, you know Nash?
Steve Nash.
Steve Nash.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, not personally, but
Right,
yeah,
right.
I met him once
So
maybe.
listen to this. So a lot of the Lakers players live in Manhattan Beach.
Yep.
And Manhattan Beach is much more expensive, by the way, per square foot than Beverly Hills is. So it's kind of funny. So anyway, so we're going out to play like a mixed doubles situation and at Manhattan Beach Country Club. And I don't watch sports really, to be honest with you. And I go to live sports matches because I love watching. We're going to the Dodgers on July 3rd in the dugout or whatever. I love doing it like that, but I don't just watch it on TV.
Yeah.
Even tennis, to be honest with you, I have difficulty just watching it on TV. It feels boring to me. I'll go to
Right.
Wimbledon or whatever. So Wimbledon's coming up.
Yeah,
July
that's exciting.
1st.
You're doing an event here, right?
A big event, all white event. July 1st to July 6th, we're going to turn the boutique all white clothes, and we're going to have specials, and it's very exciting. So
Very cool.
But so anyway, so we go to, and people are like, shh, shh, shh. And I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And he's married to an Olympian as well. And they were both, I guess, rated 3.5. And because he had just started playing tennis. And he went from 3.5 to 4.5 in like, in like two minutes. He never played tennis before.
Yeah.
So that's my like athlete story. Okay, so I want to ask you a few questions. First of all, let's say someone's new to tennis. I mean, I was 30 years old when I started playing. I was really overweight and I was about 200 pounds, something like that. I'm like 150 now. That's how much more overweight I was, but I'm still overweight. But
Do you attribute that to tennis?
I lost all the weight because of tennis.
Because of tennis, amazing.
Yeah.
You look great, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I lost it and kept it off because it's been 20 years now. And part of it was because tennis is aerobic and it's exercise, but most of it was replacing bad habits with tennis, like going to happy hour dinners or whatever. Also, the change in friends. Before I started playing tennis, I was smoking cigarettes and drinking a lot, lots of happy hours, like every night.
Right.
And then when you have athletic friends that don't smoke and don't drink,
Right.
or have one or two drinks once a week, your habits actually, for me, I meld to who I spend time with. So,
Anyone does, yeah.
Yeah. Now that I'm 50 years old, I am very careful even with podcasting, I don't want to interview somebody who is negative and can't do attitude and, isn't up to something in their life. I'm not interested in being around them at all,
Right.
I think, especially when you pass 50, you start realizing how little time you really have left in your life and how your energy every 10 years kind of does get a little bit lower. You get a bit slower. Your mind isn't as sharp. And so I make the most of every minute now. And it's like every minute is got to be very pleasurable and valuable. And I've got to be either teaching something to help somebody that makes me feel good, volunteering, buying gifts, doing acts of service, giving compliments to people, or I need to be growing and learning and talking to people who are better than I am, fitter than I am. I often ask people what they eat, what time they wake up, what their habits are. I love reading books about high impact habits and, things that other people have done to grow themselves spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally, financially. I just love being a student of life, actually. But yeah, tennis was life-changing for me. I lost all of that weight and have kept it off. I also did amazing business deals. When I started playing tennis, I was a commercial banker. I was financing commercial real estate, very large shopping centers, gas stations, hotels. I started off doing small business loans, and I started doing very large loans. And unlike golf, I wasn't an athlete. Golf, you really have to be masterful. Whereas because, there's handicapping in golf, right? So I shoot 130, right? Robert shoots 4, it's like we can't when we go golf together, we just play his ball, right? There's no way to like equalize for us.
Right.
Whereas with tennis, he can hit the ball slowly. You know, he can play like a 2.5 or a 3.0
Right. Right.
as a, you know, I met him when I was 4.0 already, but it's much more of an equalizer, this sport. I was so lucky because when I tried all these different sports because the doctor said you're morbidly obese, you've got to lose weight. So I was like, okay. So I tried everything: jogging, you know, swimming, gym. I was living in Austin, Texas at the time, and it's a very sporty city. It's very friendly. And so I got so lucky because I was living in Up City Park Road, and there were 3 or 4 country clubs within a couple miles of where I was. So one was just a straight tennis club called Courtyard Tennis Club, and one was a country club, more golf, but a little bit of tennis, called River Place Country Club. And there were 2 coaches there that one of them was just a little bit older than me and one was a lot older than me. And they were women. And Rosie Garza was at Courtyard and Beverly Bowes was at River Place. And they became like older sisters for me. So although they were coaching me tennis, I'm going to start crying because through tennis, I became like a better woman because they championed me in like a healthy way to play better. But really, they just made me a better person. I learned to become more confident. I learned to ask for what I need. I learned to be more courageous. I learned to not allow people to bully me. You know, I allowed everybody to get their way around me for all my life. And at 30 years old, starting to play tennis, they taught me, no, you don't need to put up with that. No, you can say no. So I grew as a woman. As I shrunk as a woman, I grew as a woman. And, all the problems you have off the court, they get concentrated on the court. It's very interesting. So I just started learning life lesson after life lesson after life lesson after life lesson. I never really had girlfriends before because women kind of scared me, the emotions and all of that. Like, I was kind of a guy's guy, and I was
Right.
commercial banker, senior vice president, I wasn't. And so I started developing women friendships, and there's the things that you get from a woman to woman friendship are completely different from a male to woman friendship. And just that nurturing and caringness and lovingness that men aren't really capable typically of giving. The conversations and the philosophies and the discussions that we have are just completely different. And then, so now I have healthy body. My mind was getting healthier. My spirit was getting healthier. And then I started making these friendships, which elevated my heart. And my heart just got healthier and more loving and more compassionate, more empathetic. My wallet was getting fatter because I was doing deals because of the networking that tennis, does for you. And then I moved back to Beverly Hills, and, I started playing. Now I went from 2.5 to 3.0 to 3.5 to 4.0, and everybody was like, wow, you're such a good tennis player and stuff. I met Robert on the tennis court, my husband, when I was a 4.0. I was 40 years old. And a couple years after that, I got my female partner and I got bumped to 4.5. Robert was a 4.5 already. And it's just, I cannot tell you that, there's born again Christians. I'm like a born again tennis player because I quit my commercial banking career. I said to Robert, I just want to do something in business that is to do with tennis because I just want to be around tennis players. I want to introduce tennis players to each other. I want to introduce players to this sport that I love so much, that has been life-changing for me. Even my clothes. People come in here, they buy a tennis dress, then they ask me if I know a coach, then they start playing tennis.
Right.
It's because tennis clothes are the cutest clothes of all the clothes. Golf is so preppy and golf
Right.
is so out of reach financially. Here in Beverly Hills for $10 an hour, you can rent a court on La Cienega, the balls are $10, the rackets a couple $100, or you can go to Goodwill. There's a million rackets in Goodwill, by the way,
Yeah.
or Salvation Army. You can buy a racket for $20. It's very accessible to people, and a lot of areas. I don't know if you've been to Irvine recently. There. Irvine, it's called Great Park, and boy, is it great. Like, the tennis park is better than most of the country clubs I've ever been to. The courts are beautiful. Every court is like a show court. It's a great place to do an event. We should do an event there.
Yeah.
I had a tournament out there. I had an up-down tournament with handicap wheelchair players. So the women were all stand-up and the men were all in chairs, and we did a tournament, and it was so much fun out there. But yeah, I love the sport and I am obsessed with it, I would say, because the amount of gains that you can have from the sport, from contacts to health to learning to deal with problems like cheaters, like people who default matches or bullies or this or that, growing yourself as a human being, plus the love and connections. And like you said, when you compete together, they say people who pray together, play together, stay together. I say people who play together, stay together. The relationship I have with my female partner, Andrea, first of all, I would never have met her. She has
Right.
kids. I don't have kids. Where would I have ever met her? We're completely different worlds. So meeting people you would never have met, developing relationships in an intimacy and a camaraderie that is almost like college-like. In college, you make bonds and friendships, or in high school, bonds and friendships. But in the work world, you can't go to work and have these sort of intimate relationships with people you work with typically.
Right.
And so this is an avenue for adults, people, to have a relationship and have an outlet and have, so I want to give a shout out to Stephen Liu, who is the one who introduced me to you guys, because he's a client of my store. And he came into my store one day when I was here, and he bought an outfit, and he looks great in my outfit. And he's such a fun guy, and he loves tennis, and he's a connector. And so, he works in Century City for a financial advising firm. And so I met him, and we're talking about financial advising, and he's introducing me to more tennis. And it's just like this snowball of wonderfulness. It's just such a positive experience. Anyway, I went off on a rant. You see how much I love tennis. I'm like super obsessed, but having the competition is super important, because if I didn't have, if there weren't levels in tennis, because Rosie Garza put me on a 3.0 team, even though I was only 2.5 at the time, because there were no 2.5 teams. And having the practices and having the winning and the losing, I will tell you, the first several months that I played, I'd go and have a shower and then sit in the bathtub and cry, because it was so frustrating. I was a successful banker and successful in business and financially successful and everything. And I couldn't get this ball over the net and in the court. It was like, ah!
Yeah.
And, people said, this is frustrating you. Why are you doing it? And I said, because I'm a winner. That's why I'm not going to allow myself. This is a funny story. I went to Rancho Valencia in San Diego, and with 3 girlfriends, and we took some doubles tennis coaching. We were all 3.0s at the time. And I said to the coach, I'm going to be a 4.5 one day. And he said, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
He still works there, by the way. So I was going to call him and tell him. But yeah, I've got a picture with him. And I cried that night, because I was like, oh, he's probably right, because I'm not athletic, And I was like, no, he's not right. And I did. 8 years later, I was a 4.5. And it does take something. I mean, it's not a joke, being able to go up in the ranks like that.
Right.
But the pleasure of being able to prove to yourself that you can do something like that is so magnificent. And in TimeBall, that's what I like about it, is because there are checks and balances. It's not just hitting the ball, but it's not so serious that people are going to make bad line calls or cheat or whatever. So it's kind of got this perfect balance between a match, which is too serious, and you have to sign up and commit to a whole season of 3 months of once a week every Saturday. It's a complicated algorithm with playing with those type of things.
Yep.
And then there's the let's just go and hit with your friends, which how she hits already. and then that wall of, politeness has also come down, so that happens. You have really come right in the middle and hit the nail on the head and made something that is fun yet competitive, challenging yet exciting, and then the playfulness of the music and all of that. I really commend you. I think it's a fantastic thing that you've done.
Thank you.
Plus, helping the newer coaches that don't have 40 hours or 60 hours worth of lessons, giving them something to bring people into the sport and to be able to sort of show people what sort of coach they are, so that they can get a taste of their personality and see if that they want to take private lessons and develop their tennis with this coach. I think you've just done a great job. So the last thing I'm going to ask you is, for these tennis coaches that want to sign up, I know that the price changes and all of that sort of stuff, but as of now, 2024, we're in June. What's your price right now, and how can people contact you to learn more about it? I think one of the things some coaches are going to want to know, especially if they're new coaches, is how do you help secure tennis courts? What do you do to be able to find a private court to kind of get your business started? And what do you do about insurance on a private court as well, if you are teaching on people's courts?
Gotcha. Yeah. So for all you coaches out there listening to the podcast, we charge currently $79 a month. Sounds on the pricey side when we were coming up with our number, but we charge $40 a player. So if you can get 2 extra players in a month out, which you will, like I said, I get the same client come out 3 to 6 times a week. So you'll more than triple that.
And that's $40 for an hour and a half. I go to the 2-hour one, so it's actually $50. Yeah.
So, we'll be more than happy to help you with rates and kind of setting your prices. And, I've primarily known, LA markets and, but there's coaches out there in New York or Chicago. And that's what's interesting too about growing this is there's not a lot of private court, like private court's not a thing in Chicago, or live ball or time ball is not a thing yet. I'm actually doing in July a kind of time ball tour kind of thing. So we're going to be driving to Chicago, me and my girlfriend. We'll stop in Denver, actually with the Babolat rep. I don't think it's the SoCal one, but Kansas City, Wichita, Vegas.
We just won a bronze ball in Kansas City at the indoor courts. Oakland Park, beautiful.
Oakland Park, yeah.
Beautiful indoor courts.
That'll definitely be on our list then of ones to stop to. So a lot of those coaches with indoor courts, I mean, like I said, I'm from Chicago and indoor courts are tough to come by, but you'd have 16 courts and all of them are playing singles. And to be able to jam 4 courts worth of people onto one court, it opens up 3 courts. A, for more rentals, or B, for more time ball groups. So it's like the revenue side is...
And the members will be happier because more members will be on the court at prime time.
Exactly. So...
that's a win-win-win-win. I love that.
Right, for coaches and for players, exactly. So, so that's kind of that whole thing. So, in terms of the insurance you mentioned, I don't know. Right now, we're just kind of the tech company, who offers support and shows coaches and clubs basically how to make money.
I know USPTA and PTR offers discounts for those type of things like insurance and balls, etc., through the being licensed as a pro as well.
Yeah, I haven't done that in 2 years, but I think it's like a couple $100 a year.
Yep.
I think, and you get liability, you get discounts with, I think, Tennis Warehouse maybe.
Yep.
Discounts with them. So yeah, they're a great organization. Both of them, PTR and USPTA. And right now I have just general, which is liability, which is pretty cheap, $25 a month or something. But so very easy to get started, very low kind of overhead. If you have access to a court, it's great. And kind of in line with that, if a court rental is $20 an hour, you charge $100 an hour. Right there, you're making 80, but you could make 320 in an hour and a half, and is that 200 some an hour? So, you can make $200 an hour, so you basically, again, double your income.
Yeah.
For that same fixed cost. And balls still cost the same money, whether you're doing lessons or time ball. So, Yeah.
It's also a great way to get adults that played in high school maybe or when they were younger, like a restart program. So if you do the time ball for those sort of people, so they know how to hit the ball over the net and in the court, but maybe their serve is a little rusty or whatever. It's a way to get them back into the sport and get them excited again. And because it has this quickness to it, it is really, really fun and social. And, as when you're on the champ side and the challengers coming round to come up, we kind of give each other looks like, ha, I beat you. And it's just got that playfulness and that joyfulness in it, which some of the other ways to play tennis, they're too serious and stuff. So,
Right.
yeah, I love it. I congratulate you. How can people contact you to ask you more about the program, whether they want to play in your time balls in Southern California or become one of your timekeepers?
Yeah, so Instagram's probably our most active social media platform. Timeball.app is our website. So on there, you'll see a timekeeper for page, and that's kind of learning about how to become one and what it is and what the game is. And then there's a form at the bottom, so fill that out, and we'll be in touch with you to kind of show you how to run a time ball session. And then our time ballers, we call them, our players, kind of some fun names, but that's to learn more about how to play and the rules and kind of where you can play and locations and stuff. And so, yeah, a lot of the website, you'll find a lot of information, or you'll contact me or one of my team members.
Yeah, Robert's going to probably start one up in September. So
Amazing.
we'll be having one at our court here, private court, September onwards. So that is going to be a lot of fun. So lovelovetennis.com to keep in touch with the events we're doing. Where can people buy the Time Ball t-shirts?
The timeball.app, same website.
Timeball.app,
Yeah,
APP.
timeball.app.
Okay. APP, yeah, you know me. So congratulations. It's
Thank
been
you.
great talking to you. I hope next time we do something like this, we'll do it on the court.
We'll have to do a part 2.
Sounds
It's
good.
fun talking to you.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.